when it goes live. How's everybody doing this afternoon? This is Christopher Bartley. I am here with financial consultant and expert Crystal Suber. Crystal, now I'm going to do you the justice of reading your intro and everything. But before we do all of that, can I just say that you're an awesome person? I just want to throw that out there for those of y'all that are watching. Y'all just need to know she's really cool. And not only that, but I love, I love your I don't know if it's the slogan or the tagline, but it's your actual title. Like it's the actual name of the business, which is Crystal Clear Financial Solutions. And I love that because you are definitely straightforward and you make things simple. So this is going to be really cool because your story, though, isn't going to be perhaps, I don't want to say simple, but it's got some nuances and sophistications when it comes to being a founder. So so let's do this, guys. What we're going to do is I just want to introduce you to Crystal. She has 15 years of experience in the financial service industry. And after learning from some of the industry's top advisors, she decided to start her own company and she built her core values. I love this. Your values of knowledge, integrity, transparency, fairness, respect, and always putting the client first. Now, in 2016, Crystal opened Crystal Clear Financial Solutions, where she works with small businesses and families to find solutions to financial success. And she understands the value of protecting people's assets and those whom they care about most. Crystal, welcome to the show. Aaron just popped in and he says, "Yep, you are the best in the game." All right, this is cool. So, Crystal, before we get in, I usually like to just dive right in, but I realized we had the map up already. So I just want people to get a fuller picture just of who you are, just of the energy, the vibes. I'm loving it. Two things about yourself that I didn't mention that you would like to share before we just go right into your story.
Two things about myself. I'm very active in my community. I'm all about helping people, and I love dogs.
Okay. You got a dog, right?
I do. She's right.
Cool. Now, and before we go in, quick question: how has being active in the community been impacted because of COVID, and how's that process been?
So it has been interesting because we're in a more virtual world. Hence, we're streaming live right now. So we've had to kind of find other ways to do outreach, find other ways where people can still be safe, but still come together around an issue or to share ideas or to solve a problem. So, in the wintertime with the warming shelters, we were still able to do hat and glove drives. We were still able to register voters and stuff leading up to election times, and still able to find everyone because thankfully social media and technology has made it a lot easier. And once the mask mandates and stuff were out, a lot of people felt a lot more comfortable actually starting to congregate a little bit more. The weather's broke, and so it's made it a little bit easier for us to do a lot of our community outreach. So we're working on a toiletry drive right now for our homeless population here.
Okay, that's awesome. I know that quite a few individuals might have been not I don't know. I don't want to say impacted in a negative way, but it may have seemed prohibitive, from receiving those, services or just receiving the care and the love that they would typically get. So I understand that
Yes, since we're talking about it, probably one of the greatest challenges, and please, everyone, if you support a cause or a local nonprofit, please keep it in mind. I know this last year with COVID has been very different for small businesses. It's hit small businesses hard. It has also hit nonprofits very, very hard because we haven't been able to do fundraisers. Most nonprofits have a big annual event or several events. And if you can't have those events, you can't bring in that very necessary capital that you need to keep everything else going. So nonprofits have had it rough. I had several major events that were planned last year that had to be canceled, and that had a huge impact on the operational expenses and revenues for the nonprofits. So we don't want to have to cut services wherever possible. We want to still be able to offer services and still be present for those that need us, but funding is so critically important.
Yeah. And I think that in your line of work, most people, or maybe not most, but a lot of people fail to see the innovation that's necessary in the financial realm. There's innovation that happens in the industry. And I think we should probably talk or touch on that. So let's bring up the screen again. Yeah, we're going to go ahead. Here we go. So for those of you that are new to this, listen, we're going through Crystal's founder story. Okay, so we're going to begin with the backstory. This is where we do the who, what, when, where, why, just giving us the context of where she's starting with this particular story of how she created or designed and founded the Crystal Clear Financial Solutions company. And then we're going to hit the catalyst. This is her call to adventure. What was the thing that sparked, not necessarily pushed her just yet, but sparked her to realize, okay, wait, there is more to what I am really doing when it comes to my profession. And then big event, something life-changing happens. It can be positive, it can be negative, which boosts us into the midpoint. This is the point of no return, or where she's deeply motivated to now go all in. And then always after the midpoint, there is a crisis. This is what questions whether or not, especially as entrepreneurs and founders, did I make the right decision? Did I leave too soon? Was it premature? Or could I have done something different? Or was I just wrong altogether? And then after that, guys, we then go to the climax. This is like the mini realization. This is where she realized she has everything that she needed to finish and to accomplish or to found the company, because it already is in existence, guys, which brings us to the realization or the acknowledgement. And this is simply the fact that Crystal Clear Financial Solutions exist. But then there are some principles that we can extrapolate from her story. So for those of you that are like, this is great, but I'm not a financial expert, I don't know what to, that's okay. That's all right. What she's going to do is she's going to pull 5 points, 5 principles from the story so that we can all learn from her founder narrative. Crystal, you ready? Whenever you are, you can go ahead and begin with the backstory. Cool. And I'm just going to go ahead and take some notes.
Okay, excellent. So I'm going to start with where I'm from. I'm from Petersburg, Virginia. It's a predominantly Black city. It's just south of Richmond, Virginia. And it's very challenged economically. And, there's lack of diversity there. And when it comes to money and finances and educational opportunities, I was really looking for I was really looking for a career that was going to what we would say deem me successful, right? Wanted to go to college. That was a no-brainer. But what direction would I go in? I was always strong in math and sciences, but I'm also, as those that know me, I'm quite a people person. Can be very, outgoing. I enjoy working with people and helping people. And I had a couple of business courses in school, and those intrigued me. And that's why I was first introduced to the topic of finance. And I hadn't really thought much about finance, but I knew even from the time I got my first job and started earning some money is that I wanted to make good decisions with that money. Okay. And I had no one to teach me. I'd witnessed more of what not to do than what to do. And so I had to figure those things out for myself. And the way my path towards doing that was, okay, well, let me take some finance classes. And in doing so, that put me on the path of seeking knowledge and understanding and seeking an opportunity really to share the things that I'd learned with others so that they too that were in the shoes that I found myself in would have resource, because I had no resource. So I studied economics and finance at Virginia State University. And from there I thought I was going to be a stockbroker, because the whole concept of putting my money somewhere and allowing my money to work for me, that always resonated with me. I'd learned about individuals like, Warren Buffett and, very successful individuals that they did not inherit their wealth. They built their wealth based on smart, consistent investing and taking advantage of opportunities in the stock market. So I knew that was something I wanted to learn about. And I figured if I could figure out the keys to doing that, then I would never be broke, which was very important for me. So that was kind of the backstory to which was the catalyst. I mean, I'd watch my mom worked two jobs pretty much my whole, childhood. Worked two jobs, so she was not able to be there and present for me for a lot of things I was doing, a lot of interests that I had. I played sports. I'm a huge sports fanatic, and I was involved in a lot of things because I've always been that outgoing person, want to be involved in a lot. But she could never really be there. She supported me the best way she could, but she couldn't be present because she was always working. So that's where I kind of got my self-reliance and independence. But that's also where I got my drive and my motivation and that desire to not only be successful, but to do well financially and be able to provide for myself and my family.
Good. As a matter of fact, what I want us to do, and I just allowed you to keep going because this is usually what happens is we start to kind of get to some of the meat. This is where people in this backstory will begin to resonate a little bit more, like the understanding, looking for a career that bolsters your success. All of that's great. Now, we're going to reverse this, and you'll see it in the story map when we're done, because watching your mom work two jobs, she wasn't able to be involved because of work, but she was always supportive. This developed this sense of self-reliance and independence like this. So let's now talk about you modeling the work ethic, the lifestyle, or patterning that after seeing your mom. Maybe dive in just a little bit, as comfortable as you are, with some of the family dynamics that might have happened just before the catalyst.
So my mother, hard work and work ethic was a common theme in my family, but that did not mean financial success. So I quickly learned that, that was just basically keeping the lights on, food on the table, taking care of the essentials as they were. So if I wanted more, I needed to do more, or in my mind, I thought I needed to work harder. So I persisted throughout college. I mean, I was taking an overload credit in college because I was a honors in the honors program at Virginia State University. And then I also worked a full-time job and a part-time job while in college, because that's what I thought you had to do to be successful and to have things out of life. And so that's what I did at the time. And the resilience part and the independence part, I just always felt like the things that I wanted in life, I was going to have to pave my own lane. And for me, education was always a door opener for me. That's why there's a quote says, an investment in knowledge pays the best interest. That always resonated with me, because truly every door that was open to me and every opportunity that allowed me to kind of grow and progress was because I performed well on an academic in the academic arena. So from getting my scholarship to college to, actually performing well, getting some mentorship and stuff from getting some mentorship from, some of my professors and things. And, my peers, they were also focused and driven and motivated. And so you have that peer camaraderie of, pushing each other and coming together and studying together and, kind of a little friendly competition amongst, peers as students. We all wanted to perform well and pass this and that class. So those things prepared me for what would later become my career.
Gotcha. That's good. So now let's get to the catalyst piece, because and I'm going to put a heavy emphasis, and I added there education. Was the door opener there, because I think that I love the fact that you started to describe a lot of that. It almost reminds me of the movie A Beautiful Mind, one of my favorite movies, where they did have that competitive nature for excellence. So what was the thing that planted the seed for what you were later going to do, which is building your business? But what was the thing that was like your call to adventure?
I would say my first job after leaving Virginia State University was, I became a career woman. I got a job working for a financial institution, And that was great. That's where I first learned how to kind of work with clients. I was working in finance, which, everyone that goes to college is like, I just want to get a job in my field. So that was great. But what I witnessed was, and I learned, I did lending and also collections, and that was a big part of what we did there at the financial company. And what I learned, when you peel back the layers, a lot of people that we know and that we've seen and that I had a lot of respect for, based on maybe their business owners or the size of their house or their cars, everyone was in debt. Everyone was in debt. And you don't know, when you look at someone, what's really going on, financially, once you peel back that cover. But I was in a position that I was able to peek through that and peer through that and see what's behind the curtain a little bit. And it was unsettling. It was very unsettling. And I realized that people needed help before that point. They needed help before that point. And so that's where I had, because I genuinely wanted to help these people. And I wasn't convinced that giving them loans and putting them farther in debt in some instances was the answer. It may have been a temporary answer, but it may not have been the long-term solution. And oftentimes it had a compounding effect. And I would just think to myself, wow, if only this person had this financial education, or if they had just made this decision rather than this one, their situation and circumstance could be entirely different. So that's how I ended up deciding that I wanted to kind of pivot a little bit in the world of finance and actually do the financial advising and investing and things like that. And
Gotcha.
And that's where that drive kind of came from, because I enjoyed working with the clients and helping them to understand their credit and giving them money when they needed it most. I mean, that was a fulfilling thing. But then the flip side of it is, sometimes they're unable to pay and you've got to do collections. You may have to do repossessions. You may have to even do foreclosures.
Yeah.
And some things you just can't avoid. Sometimes things happen. But a lot of things you really can plan and try to protect and prepare for those circumstances that could and oftentimes do happen. It's not a matter of if it's going to happen, but more so when. And so helping people to understand those things before they get to that point.
I like that. So helping people to plan, protect, and to prepare for what we say financial difficulties, financial financial success, maybe. Would that be fair?
Yeah. Or just life in general.
Okay.
Life in general, life's emergencies,
I like that.
Because how do we end up finding ourselves in debt? It's because we don't have access to capital. We don't have access to capital because we didn't save.
Right.
Or we have bad credit.
Right.
Because we've borrowed too much, on frivolous things.
Yeah.
And over leveraged ourselves on our credit, buying things that we truly couldn't afford. So we've literally mortgaged our future earnings. And then when we truly need something, then our choices and options are few. And we may end up being in a situation where you have it's known as like predatory lenders, predatory lending practices and stuff where, you can get money, but what's the cost? These title loan places and just a lot of situations that a lot of people do. I mean, even the cash advances and things like that. So,
So, okay. And this is good. And for those of you that are watching, listen, the catalyst doesn't always have to be a person showing up and saying, hey, Crystal, we think that you should become a financial advisor instead. No, oftentimes these catalysts can be events as well, where you are in a situation and you realize, okay, I had no idea it was like this. I want to make a change. And I'm so glad that you mentioned that. So let's just, for some specificity. So you became a career woman working at a financial institution. Now, how is that different from you choosing to pivot to financial advising and investing? I just give people like a picture of Okay, financial institution would be like this, and then financial investing would be like working here. Like, what would that look?
Essentially, like working at a bank versus working at a financial services company, like an investment firm.
Okay, okay, gotcha. So I'm gonna add that at the, whoops, add that there. And this is just as an example so that people understand. Versus investment firm. Okay, great. That'll give me some leverage for after our conversation. Okay, big event. So now that you see behind the curtains how people are just falling victim to being in debt, and there are ways to prevent that, what happens next?
Well, I was able to find an opportunity working for a major Fortune 100 company as a financial services representative. And that's where I learned about, that's basically where I became a financial advisor, got my securities licenses, and learned how to work with clients around and looking at their full picture, not just looking at one piece of it, not just looking at the credit or just the debt, but looking at, their liquidity, looking at, where they are for retirement, looking at where they are from a protection standpoint, and, estate planning, taxes, diversification, all those things.
Okay. So let's humanize this just a little bit. I know, because when you're just around success, it's like, I worked at a Fortune 100 conference. You got to paint the picture for us.
I will paint the picture. let me finish that, because that sounds great, but and I thought it was great, but it really wasn't. I was a financial advisor. I was struggling, but I had been good at everything I'd ever done up to that point, and I'm a little stubborn, so I was determined to make this work, because this is what I decided I wanted for myself. And while it may have been difficult, I was just not going to give up. So I struggled for a bit, and I found myself I felt like a fish out of water, because the company that I worked for, it was quite the toxic work environment. I never really had a mentor, someone that genuinely cared about helping me or seeing me be successful. And furthermore, it was very, very difficult being a woman of color, being a woman, period, because I actually just recently had a brief conversation yesterday with someone that I work with at that company, and she's a Caucasian female, and she referred to it being such a toxic work environment. So just being a woman in finance is difficult. Okay, so let's start there. Add a woman of color, okay, and then add I'm an out lesbian woman, so add the LGBT to that as well. And it was just not a comfortable setting for me. I always felt like a fish out of water. I never felt comfortable, and I wanted to be successful and I wanted to do a good job, but I also, I loved the work. So I loved working with my clients. The clients that did choose to work with me, I value them. I value them so much. Gotcha. Because they didn't look at any of those things, and they chose to work with me, because I felt like I had the education. I was learning so much, and I couldn't wait to share it and help people. And yet it was incredibly difficult. Incredibly difficult. I wasn't well received, and that took a huge that put a huge play on my own self-worth, my own self-esteem, my confidence, how I kind of saw myself, and it was incredibly difficult. Like, it affected so many other parts of my life and stuff as well. So I realized that I needed a change. That wasn't working for me. And as much as I love my clients and did not want to leave my clients, it came to a point that I was like, it's not worth it. I had to take care of me first. So I needed to leave. I needed to find something more refreshing. So I did a salary job for a while, also working in finance, but working behind a desk. and I hated it. But I did it because it was different. It was a guaranteed paycheck, and the other situation was that bad. But the thing that I missed so much was I missed my clients. I loved what I actually did. I just realized that the company I was working for wasn't right. So one of my actually
I'm gonna stop you. I'm gonna stop you right there. I just want us to get, because this is really good information, because it there's like a kind of a mini crisis within but it's not. We're gonna get to this midpoint soon. But I want to ask you the question of, how did it feel when you first realized that you did get the opportunity to work at the Fortune 100 company? So we got the back end where it's like, ah, man, yeah, wasn't all it was cracked up to be. But when you got that acceptance, or the job offer, I was going to say acceptance letter like Wisconsin. When you got that job offer, what?
Yeah, I was excited. I was so excited because I was like, yes, this is exactly what I want. This is a great opportunity. You know, I'm going to be this great, successful advisor, and I'm going to help so many people, and I'm going to learn so much. So I have a thirst for knowledge. I love learning. So, and I did. That's the one thing I can't take away from them. I learned so much. So in many ways, that paved the way for me to be able to do what I do today. So, so that's the one greatest positive from that whole experience. But yeah, I definitely appreciate the educational opportunities that I was afforded and everything that I learned while I worked there.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So now let's talk about this midpoint. So you decided, okay, you know what? This job isn't what it is. Did learn a lot of lessons. What shifted when you said, okay, you left the job, but you didn't leave the industry? And I think that that's important. I'm going to write that down. Left the job, didn't leave the industry, but something pushed you to go all in, to begin your own, to found your own company.
Exactly what that was. Okay. So I valued so much the clients that I gained working for the previous company, and it really hurt me when you resign or leave a company. In this business, you have to leave all your clients behind. The company owns those clients. They continue to market to those clients. They just assign them another representative, and all of your work is basically for null. And I saw my clients would reach out to me. They still needed me and wanted me, but I really couldn't help them at the time. And they weren't happy with the service that they received from other individuals. Or they would say, well, I've had 5 or 6 people since you. So there was this incredible, incredible desire to take ownership of that. Because I found myself, I actually went to about 2 different companies. I tried a couple of different things before deciding finally to start Crystal Clear Financial. And the reason is because I thought grass would be greener on the other side. So I went somewhere else and tried something else, and then went somewhere else and tried something else. And never was it really a good fit. And I was working for a company that they did treat us a whole lot better, and I actually liked working for them, but I just didn't see myself being there long term. I didn't see the opportunity there that I would have liked to have seen for growth, and that's important to me. Remember, I like learning and wanted to elevate. And they kind of only focused on one thing, and I wanted to do more than that one thing. So I wanted to broaden my horizons, and I knew that. So I simply moved my, I was a W-2 wage, statutory employee, and I became an independent contractor with the same company. And that's kind of how Crystal Clear Financial Solutions was born. And the reason that I made that change, though, the catalyst, the midpoint, as you say, is because doing that track, my clients were going to, for the first time, be my clients. So if I moved from one company to the other, my clients were going to follow me, not this particular company per se. So if I work for this company for 2 years or 3 years or write business here or there, they're still all my clients. So you have that ability when you're independent. When you're working for someone else, every client you bring in essentially belongs to that company.
Gotcha.
So I wanted to have ownership over that.
Okay. I like that. Wanting to take ownership of the clients who still, and these are the, and I wouldn't say, and maybe I should reword this because I put here, you wanted to take ownership of the clients who still reached out, but it wasn't that you wanted to siphon them, right? Because you couldn't, right? That would be,
Right.
you know, breaching the contract. However, you pivoted to becoming an independent contractor so that you could be able to, for future clients, go ahead and keep. What is the term? I put ownership
I could do more for them.
Okay.
I could offer them better services.
Yeah.
And I could basically see them through end to end. And it just gives me the better leverage too, because I'm not working for any one company. I'm representing multiple companies now. So right. So I have so many more products and services that I can offer. And I can do things truly the way I value. Like we talked about things that were important to me, you know, the integrity and everything like that. I can do things in a way that is consistent with my values, as opposed to representing you know, a company and having different managers and having just a whole lot of different things going on.
Yeah. Okay, no, that's good. So now you become an independent contractor. What was the first or maybe the largest moment that just was traumatic or a downturn that made you say, did I make the right decision?
I would say not having the financial security, because, you know, I understand how important that is, right? And what I thought was financial security really truly was not. When you're a business owner, it looks a little different,
right?
Because I gave up my benefits. You know, I had to now provide my own benefits for myself. That's the health insurance and, you know, and things like that. I had to still put money away for retirement, you know, as well as, okay, now I can't really take any time off. I don't have anyone to cover, you know, my clients. It is all up to me. And, you know, they say, if it is to be, it's up to me. I was solely out there by myself, like an island, you know, and it was something that was empowering and motivating and driving behind that, but also fearful, very fearful, you know, because you don't want to make one wrong turn and you could end up, you know, like Tom Hanks in Castaway, you know? So,
I love
so
that.
you have to be careful how you kind of navigate that thing. And it was very scary. Uncharted territory for sure. Yes, I was a business major. Yes, I studied a lot of different companies and I'm familiar with success and failure stories. And I studied some marketing and I studied all this stuff. But when you actually have to do it, that's a whole horse of another color. So, yeah.
Even with your academic and your professional experience, it was still uncharted territory, which made it scary. I want to dive into this just a little more now before we go into the climax. This idea of, you know, I'm going at it alone. Now, mind you, just so that we can clarify, you are still at this point. Are you still an independent contractor?
Yes.
And as the independent contractor, is this where you registered, you know, the LLC, or you registered the company as Crystal Clear? Or
Crystal Clear.
Okay.
Yes, I knew I needed to have a name.
Right.
But really, that was about all I did at that point.
Gotcha.
So I was still working for the same company I worked for before, and I was an independent contractor.
Gotcha.
And I came up with my name, and I said, oh, I got to have a logo. Let me get a logo. So I had the name and the logo, but I was still kind of narrow focused. At that point, I was still only working with that one company and offering I was basically just doing the same job I'd always done, only now I'm doing it for myself.
Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't thinking broader or bigger.
Right.
Which is that now I've got a whole world kind of open to me. I don't have to just work with this one company. I can work with any company I want, contract with any company I want. I can get licensed in any state I want, and I can do my business the way I want to now.
Okay.
But I didn't have time. I didn't do it right. I didn't do it like the textbook version, like I learned in school. I didn't have a business plan. I didn't think this thing out. I didn't have anything well thought out. It was just something I just found myself in that lane, and I was just doing it every single day, head down, narrow focus, just trying to make the ends meet and keep my bills paid and taking care of my clients. I'd always known how to take care of my clients if I didn't know anything else. So I was what we say now, and what I've learned since then in hindsight, I was working in my business, not on my business. And I did that for like the first 2 years.
That's good. Working in my business, but not on. And look at this. Can I switch us back to where that hits us back to the backstory of where you realized that the hard work ethic, which was a strong theme in your family, but it didn't equal, like you mentioned, financial success, but just survival. So in a sense, you were kind of repeating, not in a negative way, but the pattern was being repeated. It's same the
mentality.
Different industry, right? But not same mentality, same results. And so it seems as if, and this is where I want to ask, I usually ask this crisis question here, the real crisis, now that we're here, where you realize you're working on your business, not in your business, what would be the question that you might have asked yourself in this crisis moment? It can be something like, do I have what it takes? Or that's not what I believe it is for you, but what would that question have been?
I was trying to figure out what I need to do next, because I knew that I had this great propensity to do so much more, but why wasn't I doing it? Right? Why wasn't I doing it? What was missing? Right? And trying to figure out what that looked like.
I'm going to put here, how do you transition from survival to success? Would it even be fair to say, how do I break the family cycle?
Yes, that is a very fair thing to say.
Okay, of hardship with no.
Because that's the end goal. That's the big goal. Is to break that cycle.
Yeah.
And help others break their cycles as well.
Right. What would this be considered? Family cycle of having the hardship, right, of work, but with no financial. What would that be? Not financial gain from your expertise.
We call it poverty. Look where I'm from.
So let me just put that. Let's get real simple. Love it. You made it real simple for me. Love it. Okay. So now that we have this crisis moment where it's like, okay, how do I transition? How do I break my own cycle? I've gotten the degrees, I've gotten the licenses, I've worked at a Fortune 100 company as LGBT minority woman. You got this whole, and you're able to make it in this top 10%, right, of financial companies. You now decide to leave that because you're like, no, I'm not selling myself or degrading myself in order to make this thing work. Not only that, I'm going to leverage the ability to have ownership of my own clientele by becoming an independent contractor. And now you say, wow, I'm repeating the same cycle. How do I break this? What did you do? Final showdown, climax. What did you have to battle? What did you have to fight? What did you realize? Okay, I have what it takes. What happened there?
What I realized is I can't do it alone. Remember that self-reliance and independence? That could only take me but so far. So what I realized is that while I was capable of doing my own, marketing and doing my own bookkeeping and doing all that for myself, it was going to stress me out. I needed to be able to just focus on the things that was going to be truly essential to my business and the things that no one else can do for me, and concentrate my focus there. The client activity, and find other people who do those things and do it well, that I trust and can work with, to take those things off of my plate. Right? So I needed leverage. You know what else I needed? I needed a team of people, because I mean, I'm still trying to get to the point where I can scale my business and have multiple representatives, have people that I can mentor and help them grow a career in finance. That's the goal. Is to duplicate myself multiple times, right? But before I even get there, I knew I needed an assistant. I knew I needed a bookkeeper. You know, I just needed help with things that I wasn't good at. That my social media presence and marketing and all that stuff, I was doing a little bit of it and dabbling in it, but there's people that do that and do it very well. And I can pay them to do it, you know, so why not do that?
Right.
So I had to do all those things, and I'm still learning how to let go and be willing to pay other professionals to do these things for me and for my business, and trust them to do that, and not try to do everything myself, because you know it's impossible.
So
Yeah,
I
so
like this. I like this. Still learning how to let go and trust professionals to do their job while you focus on yours. And so what would you say was the result? As a result of learning to let go, what happened or what is happening right now?
what's happening is I have greater what's happening is I have greater I have a little bit more liberty, more freedom. I'm not stressed out and feel like under the gun I've got to do so much, and that there's no one else but me. Now I can call someone up and say, hey, you know, I need XYZ. So I've put myself in a position to have other people um that are experts in certain fields that I can reach out to. You know, I've got a good banker, I've got a relationship with them. So, you know, to make sure that my money and stuff is straight, I've got my bookkeeper, I've got, you know, marketing person, I've got an assistant. So all those things have helped me tremendously, because I probably would would be ready to throw in the towel if I was still trying to do everything myself all the time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I like that. So I was here, you're able to network now with diverse people. And I'm going to put here resources, because that's what they, what they have for your business, in order to, now I put here to spend more time helping clients, but name for me a few things. You mentioned one, right? To keep your sanity. Name some others for me that this is, I'm finding these individuals in order to blank. How would you fill in that blank?
In order to have a better quality of life, but also better quality for my clients, because I can spend more time with the clients and working on the things that they need me to work on, right? Because I didn't want to be that that squeaky wheel gets the oil type of consultant.
Yeah.
So when my clients call on me, of course, if you ask me for something, I'm going to do it. But I wanted to be also very proactive and reach out to them, and make sure that they know that I'm there and I'm thinking about them and I'm working for them and with them. But it was a point where I just became that squeaky wheel gets the oil person, because I just had way too much going on and I just could not balance it all. So I needed some help.
Yeah. Here, this is, I think, one of the key themes in your story, especially because you mentioned this idea, the value of learning. You mentioned the term elevation. Excellence is another one. Finding other experts to team with you, as you are also an expert, made the difference. It was allowing you to trust in the expertise of others, just as you have begun to trust in your own expertise. That's that is key. And that is obviously what's going to take you to the next level. Okay, we're going to go through this. As you can see, we've got some notes here. We're going to go through your entire story. But before we do, let's pull out some life applications from this entire process? What are 5 principles that you would suggest? It's usually done in a call to action kind of way. It usually has an action word: take, tell, share, do. But you go ahead, share your truth, and I'll clean it up later. But yeah, what are 5 things that you want them to take away from this founder story?
Believe.
I want you to give me some more there. So that's good. So I'm going to use invest for the second one, but let's start with the believe, because I think that you're onto something there. Believe in, or believe what?
Believe in yourself, basically. Believe in yourself.
Love it. Next one. And you said you used the word invest, so I'm going to go with
invest in yourself. Whether that's through education, whether it's financially, whether it's knowing when you need a break, but just investing in yourself. Self-care. Yeah, I'm still working on that one. Working on that one.
You and me both, Crystal. It's listen, there's a part in my, never mind, this ain't about me, it's about you. So let's go to this next one here. Third principle. We have believe, invest,
integrity.
Okay.
Mean what you say what you mean.
Love it. Integrity.
Let your actions speak for you.
Let your actions speak for you. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. All right. Next one. We've got, now we don't have to do all 5. Most people like it, but how about this? Do you want me to go through the entire narrative and then it might kind of spark some ideas, or you think you can plow through?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, let's do that. Those
are just top of mind, and I think they tie in somehow.
No, they definitely do tie in. So here's what we're going to do, guys. We're going to go through Crystal's founder story right now. I'm going to begin with the backstory and work our way all the way through, and then we're going to circle back around to the life application. So Crystal is from Petersburg, Virginia, and this is an area that she mentioned, it has a lack of diversity. It's economically challenging, and what she was doing was looking for a career that would bolster her success. And so she's strong in math and science, but she was also a people person. So it's like being able to successfully use the right side and the left side of her brain, which is what we traditionally pair that to. And she was introduced to finance and became interested in it, but she had no one to teach those financial principles. And so she sought the opportunity to share financial lessons with others after studying finance and economics in Virginia State University. But here's the thing, guys. Inspired by people like Warren Buffett, who built versus inherited his wealth, she became interested in the stock market. So that's where she thought that her professional trajectory was going to go. But this is the cool thing here. It all began with watching her mom work 2 jobs, who wasn't able to be involved because of work and like her sports activities, extracurricular activities. But her mother was always supportive. Her mother Crystal developed self-reliance and independence as a result of seeing the strong work ethic of her mother, which was a strong theme in the family. However, this is key, guys. Even though work ethic existed, it did not equal to financial success, but merely survival. Here it is where this mentality, not that it's a negative mentality, you need to have a strong work ethic and discipline. This was transferred, though, in a good way, in a positive way, when she went to college. So she worked a full-time job, a part-time job, while also being an honor student at VSU. So this was the vision of success because of the family culture of hard work. Education was always a door opener for Crystal. Here's the catalyst, guys. Call to adventure. When she became a career woman working at a financial institution, she realized eyes were open that everyone was in debt after working with these clients. This felt very unsettling for her. She realized that people needed help before the point of actually being in debt. She wanted to nip it in the bud before they actually came to her. So this is what she said. Listen, loans was not and is not the long-term solution. They needed guidance. They needed advice. They needed education. And so what Crystal did was she pivoted to financial advising and investing in order to help people plan, protect, and prepare for their life's emergencies. She mentioned here that what they were doing was mortgaging their future earnings, and she wanted to prevent this. Now, what was the big event, guys? Well, here's the big event. after wanting to have this desire to do this, and this is so important, guys, because oftentimes the call to adventure would come, but we may refuse the call. She actually got a job offer to work at a Fortune 100 company, which actually is kind of different from the call she originally had. Remember, the goal was originally to work in the stock market industry arena, and being an advisor for individuals to get out of debt was totally opposite. So now that she gets this eye-opening experience of saying, oh, wow, hold on, I don't think it's stock market. I think it's really helping people in this way. Fortune 100 comes, and the refusal of the call in the beginning, which typically happens in the hero's journey, it happens, right? And so this is what occurs. She now works at this Fortune 100 company as a licensed financial advisor. She's super excited. She saw the vision for helping many people. She was able to look at their liquidity, retirement, taxes, diversification. However, she felt like a fish out of water. The toxic work environment and having no mentor to ensure her success, and compounded by the difficulty of being a woman, but that's not a woman of color, and then being and she mentions being a woman in finance is difficult altogether, but then also being an LGBT woman of color, all of these things compounded. So she valued her customers, and the customers valued Crystal regardless of the above factors that I just mentioned. However, it still impacted her self-esteem and her self-worth in a negative way. She needed a change, but she didn't want to leave her clients. However, she realized that self-care was more important. And so what Crystal did was she pivoted to a salary financial job from the Fortune 100 company. So in essence, midpoint, guys, she left the job, but she didn't leave the industry. The purpose, the calling was still there. And also she had to leave. And here's the key. She had to leave the clientele behind, because in essence, the company owns those clients. So she had this incredible desire to take ownership of the clients who still reached out because of unsatisfied or being unsatisfied with their previous company. However, she couldn't. I mean, contractually, legally, that was something that she couldn't do. Now, she reminds us that, listen, learning and elevation were major personal values, are major personal values. So she had to find a way to work around this. So what she did was she became an independent contractor with the same company. Go figure, like with the same company. And for the first time, her clients now will be her clients and not be subject to the previous or to the current employer. Not only this, guy, she was able to offer better services. She was able to see them through end to end, from beginning to end of their entire financial advice in their journey. And now she was able to represent multiple companies. Crisis mode. Even as an independent contractor, she now sets up the name Crystal Clear Financial Solutions. Listen, she doesn't have the financial security that she had before. She's given up benefits, health insurance, retirement, etc. This is now uncharted territory, which made it scary. Even with her academic and professional experience, she didn't have a business plan. She just jumped into it. She was head down. She was taking care of clients. She was working in her business, but not working on her business. And this is where the crisis hits, because she realizes that she's repeating the same cycle, different industry, but same cycle that her mother was, working hard, but still in poverty. Crystal then realizes that she doesn't have to do this alone. Remember, she's coming from it, and this is key, guys. She's coming from the single parent household. She's coming from that culture. And so that is going to be a large part of how she operates. And she now says, okay, this is how I break the cycle. I don't have to do it alone. She's capable of doing marketing and bookkeeping, but she wasn't able to focus on her clients fully. She wasn't able to attend the extracurricular activities of her clients that would help them to be financially successful, similar to how her mother was supportive, but not able to attend the actual events that leveraged Crystal's success academically. Okay, I just had to throw that in there, Crystal, because I think that was kind of cool of a connection there. She needed to find a team so that she could do what she was an expert in, which was helping people in their finances. It was financial advisory. So she's still learning how to let go and to trust professionals to do their job while she focuses on hers. However, big realization, because of the process, as it's still continuing to learn to let go, she now has more liberty and she's able to spend more time with helping clients. She's able to network now freely. It's more natural, I should say. It's almost like a reflex with finding diverse people and resources in order to have better quality of personal life and also better service for her clients, which will also improve their lives as well. Finding other experts to team with Crystal, who is an expert, has made the difference. Now we've got some life applications, guys, here. Number 1, believe in yourself. Number 2, invest in yourself. Number 3, let your actions speak for you. Crystal, anything else that you want to add?
Wow, that was a lot. Yeah, I would say leverage. You know, for entrepreneurs, leverage is so very important. And you know, I talked to it earlier in the well, in the latter part of the story. I think it was at the climax or so, but leverage.
Okay. Leverage being the independent contractor, right? And having the flexibility.
Well, no, the leverage of leveraging other experts. And
Okay. At the end.
And not, not just depending on yourself, but realize that you need a team. Yes. And then it's okay to ask for help. It's okay. It's okay to ask for help.
It's okay to ask. There we go. We're going to change that into a call to action there. Ask for help. As a matter of fact, let's do that right now. Okay. And what would be the final?
The final. Let
me zoom out.
I guess I would say the resilience. Don't give up.
Okay.
Don't give up. Stay the course. If it's something you truly want to do, yes, and you truly believe in, you know, then you just have to stay the course.
Okay. Crystal, we've got our 5 life lessons. Believe in yourself, invest in yourself, whether that's educationally, financially, self-care. Let your actions speak for you. That's integrity. Leverage is important. Ask for help, and then don't to give up. Stay the course, because if you truly believe in it, you will and should keep going. Crystal, I just want to thank you so much. This, if y'all, and listen, let me get this out the way. If y'all don't know, even financial advisors have stories, and oftentimes we just think of them as just people who are just in the numbers, and no, they're not a line item. Let them know, Crystal. They're humans just as we are. And I know that's oftentimes, Crystal, what we can do is we take people either, you know, in a bank or in a Fortune 100 financial company, and we kind of strip them away from their humanity. And we just see them as a number cruncher, someone that's just good with, budgeting or investments and portfolios. However, I hope that this is a major lesson for all of us to understand that we all have a narrative and we all have a story, regardless of the industry that we're in, even if it's sophisticated as finance. Crystal, I want to thank you so much. Stay on. We're gonna we got a few minutes. I know you got a 3 o'clock. So but yes, for those of you though that are still on, watch the rebroadcast, look through this thing again, and understand that you too have a story and somebody's going to be inspired from it. We'll see y'all later, and catch you on the next one.